Do you have a bookkeeping mess? Boy, let me tell you the number of times somebody has said to me, I have such a mess. Well, you have to look no further than coming right to Sound Bookkeepers, because we are experts in cleaning up the mess. Whether you're an accountant or a business owner, doesn't matter what your situation is. If you have a paperwork, record keeping, accounting mess, we're the ones to help you. And I want to explain to you a little bit about what our process is, how we help you, the things that we use, the tools that we employ, and let's get right to it. Now, the process looks like this. First, we talk to you, figure out what you need, and then give you a written proposal that you can look through and see all the tasks and the fees associated with us getting things cleaned up for you. Once you say yes to that and you take care of the fee, we're going to get to work on what we call the setup meeting. In that setup meeting, we're going to do things like get the bank access we need, get access to QuickBooks, Department of Revenue, file local. Maybe you're using a point of sale system or a customer relationship management tool. Whatever you have records in that relate to accounting, we're going to want access to that. So we take care of that during our setup call, and then the next few weeks to months is us going through all those records and trying to bring it into the right format so that we can then kind of check in with you about what's going on and make sure that our records make sense to you, because ultimately you're the one who has to give them to whoever's going to get them next. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is just how we do the bookkeeping. I'm trained in what we call GAAP. GAAP stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. It essentially just means the IRS's way of seeing and doing things. So according to certain rules of GAAP, you have to just keep records in a particular way. Maybe you have to categorize things a particular way, or you have to notate them a particular way, but somehow you got to do things according to the same rules that the IRS uses. Just to throw out a few terms, there's LIFO, there's FIFO. These are different things that we use regarding inventory. There's depreciation and amortization. There's journal entries, owner's equity, retained earnings. A lot of these things are terms that people who don't have accounting training just don't really know what they even mean, but they're extremely important when it comes to doing the books correctly. Now, when somebody comes to me, the first thing I do is I just look at what they have. That may be paper records. It could be just a box of stuff. I've even received stuff before where it looks like the client just swept off the bench seat of their truck right into a box and brought it to me with yogurt lids, still stuck down on some of the papers. Whatever the records are that you have, I promise you we know how to deal with them. Now, the best way to get records is electronically, and that means from your bank, download it into a CSV or an Excel format so that they can easily be categorized and totaled up. Not everybody can get this, so sometimes paper bank statements is the best you can get, and sometimes just a handwritten ledger or journal of transaction history is the best that somebody can get. Whatever the records are that you have, we can get them into the format that they need to be in for you to be able to provide them to whoever needs them, whether that's an investor, an attorney, courts, the IRS, your CPA, your business partner. It doesn't matter who needs the records. Almost everybody who wants records wants them in the same way. They want them right, they want them fast, they want them with descriptions, and they want them from somebody who knows what they're doing, who they can trust. Now, to get from wherever you are at the beginning to wherever you are at the end can be a fast process or it can be a slow process. One of the things that makes it slow is when we don't get the records from the people who have them. So let's say that we're dealing with really old records that you don't have and you order them from the bank and the bank takes forever to get them to you. Obviously that can delay things, but if you have the records, generally we can get things done pretty quickly if we need to. The faster you go, the more likely there are mistakes. I can tell you that because sometimes in accounting you need to go through things a few times to make sure that you've caught all the little things. Now when it comes to categorizations, one of the tricky things is checks. We don't always have copies of the checks. We can't always read the checks or know what it was intended to say, even if we can read it. And so a lot of times we have to kind of go through in passes. Like we go through one pass, we get the records into some kind of format that we can give back to you, that you can look at and answer questions for us. Now ultimately, we'd like to be able to get these records into an accounting system like QuickBooks, and some people already have QuickBooks when they come to us. A lot of times people bring their QuickBooks files to us, and the QuickBooks files are a big old mess. No problem. We can get that fixed for you as well. We'll go through, we'll fix things, we'll fix the accounts, we'll fix the names of things, we'll add your customers and create invoices, manage your sales tax. Whatever the things are that we have to do, we're going to do those things for you. Now what's important for you to know is that there's a balance between how long things take and how much it costs and how accurate you need it. I sometimes see people having conversations about a transaction that's for $2. Just based solely on rates, it sometimes costs more to talk about a transaction than the transaction was itself. You have to know that the people who are looking at the records understand this dynamic, and they don't expect perfection as much as they expect a reasonable amount of perfection for the amount of money that's reasonable to spend. So if you have, let's say, a 3-year cleanup project, it may make sense to get down to the penny perfection on everything, but ultimately, if you have something in the wrong category, it's probably not going to matter that much as long as it's still reasonable and deductible. What does matter is where your records don't add up. If you don't understand the way the IRS works, let's say, and you're trying to file back taxes, you got to know what numbers to use. Which numbers are they going to be looking for? And if you get audited, which records are you going to need in an audit? I am fortunate to have had several clients be audited, and they sent me the paperwork that the IRS sent them, and so I know what the IRS looks for in an audit. I know what the bankruptcy court looks for in a bankruptcy. I know what mortgage companies look for if you're trying to get a mortgage, and I know what investors are looking for if you're trying to get an investor. It is very similar across the board. They kind of all want the same thing, but people who don't have that deep accounting knowledge are just not able to produce these kinds of records. So it's really better if you can hire a professional, and when you have a big mess, you bring it to a professional, they should be somebody who can tell you, I can guarantee you that I can do this for you. You don't want somebody who's like, I think I can help you with this. That's not where you want to be, right? Everybody wants a good bookkeeper. I think it's in the same category as you want a good doctor and you want a good running car, or you want a business that's good. You have to have good records if you're going to be successful in anything that you're out to achieve. And that's not really any different than it is if you're trying to buy a house or get an investor or file your back taxes. So that's our process. I hope that you give us a chance to help you out, because you're going to like what we do. We are absolutely the best at it. I challenge you to bring me a problem I can't solve. This is Russ, and I'm from Sound Bookkeepers, and I do hope to hear from you, and I wish you well.